It's the Riot Podcast, the Friday, December 1st edition. Today in the show, we talk about Spotify Wrapped and ask what else besides your favorite artist are you in the top 1% of? We find out that there's actually a lot of people that can do one certain bodily function, and it surprises Isaiah.
We also talk about a woman who got a ticket for honking her horn. Had a deep discussion on the morality of horn honking and where we stand.
One of us is a major honker, and the other, not much of a honker at all. Who's who? Take your guesses now.
We also talk about a child who wants to get rid of a certain emoji because he feels attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us really go for that.
Take your guesses on which emoji that is. There's many to choose from, but only one needs to be redone according to this guy.
And then people who aren't being prioritized on dating apps complaining once again.
Of course. Just like you are one of them, aren't you?
Yeah, one of them.
Also, you should check out our food fight from today, the Elf Krispy Kreme donuts. You can watch that on the RadioU Facebook page and YouTube channel. And have a good weekend.
We'll catch you guys soon.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot, RadioU.
Did you know that last night was the finale of ABC's The Golden Bachelor?
The big one.
The big one. Unlike any other. Isaiah, have you been keeping up with The Golden Bachelor?
I have not.
Nor have I. I watched the first episode, as I feel so many did, but that wasn't enough to keep me hooked. However, it sounds like we missed out on a lot last night. Obviously, if you've been catching up on The Golden Bachelor, spoilers are ahead. Last night, The Golden Bachelor, obviously the winner was chosen. It came after The Golden Bachelor himself, Jerry, introduced the two finalists to his family. The finalists were Teresa and Leslie. And the family and Jerry, seem to warm up, from what I'm gathering here, a little more to Teresa. And eventually, once the one-on-one dates took place after the family meeting, Jerry had to confess to Leslie that she was not being chosen, and it sounds like she did not take that very well.
As they usually don't.
Yeah, she feels she was lied to. She says, that is the quote. She said that this is how her life goes. So that she just, knew she would wound up brokenhearted because this is how her life goes. Meanwhile, Jerry very upset as well. And so obviously we missed out on a lot there, a lot of drama. But then Jerry did decide to go ahead and propose to who he chose as the winner, Teresa. If you did watch the first episode, you may remember Teresa as being the one who takes her robe off. And so now not only is she the winner, but they're getting married live on TV in what is called the Golden Wedding coming January 4th.
Exciting times. A lot of controversy circling Jerry currently.
Oh, yeah?
Even more. I've been keeping up with all of it on TikTok, but the big thing with Jerry right now is that he apparently had a girlfriend before going on the show, which is a constant thing that happens on these dating shows. Not usually ones like this, like the Golden Bachelor, where everybody's like 60 years old.
Yeah.
But apparently he had a girlfriend when the show started that he broke up with just before
so he
going
could
on the show.
Parade 20 other women through his life instead of her. Yeah.
But you feel like you're this is the whole thing about the Golden Bachelor.
Yeah.
Everybody on social media seems much more forgiving to the Golden Bachelor contestants rather than the 25-year-old, 28-year-old Bachelor contestants.
Yeah.
Much easier to cancel. It's a lot harder to cancel Jerry because he's this old sweet man.
Even though like these people all made the same choices, they all knew what they were getting into, you know. In what I've followed, I feel like people are still equally upset though. Or maybe even more because this is presented as, or at least you get the impression of, oh, it's so much more wholesome. This is going to be like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but like nicer. And then all the series of events that is played out is just equally as bad. And in fact, possibly worse, because now it's like these old people having their lives ruined.
Well, that's how it goes. When you come on the show,
Yeah.
Teresa, Leslie, all the other contestants, there's going to be a point where there's 2 or 3 people left that no matter what happens, no matter what the Bachelor or Bachelorette does, the people that are the final 2 or 3 are going to feel led astray because you were led astray. That's what happens. Like they tell you that they love you, and then they want to be with you, and then at the very end, they can't be with all 3 of you.
Yeah.
And so they're going to have to tell one of them or 2 of them that it's not going to work out. So yes, they're going to, at the end, if you make it to that top 3, you are in danger of serious heartbreak.
Let me ask you this as a Bachelor expert. When the Golden Wedding takes place January 4th live on ABC, do you think that's just going to be a standard wedding or is something going to go astray?
Go astray?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a standard wedding. The only thing that could go astray is if one or the other decides that they don't want to get married.
Yeah.
But outside of that...
But they can't cancel the wedding. It's a TV event now. So the only way to cancel it is live during the TV event.
I think there's been...
For Leslie to leave Jerry at the altar.
It's wild because over the course of like 20 years of having The Bachelor / Bachelorette, there's only been like 5 actual weddings on air.
That. Yeah.
But they've all went well. They've all went through.
Okay.
So we should expect the same.
High hopes for.
But that would make it one of a kind.
A wedding unlike any other.
Yep.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
The question at hand, should the nerd emoji be changed? Because I've got someone here who started a petition. Says it's offensive. Says the nerd emoji is offensive to people who wear glasses. This is a quote from the person who started the petition. His name is Teddy. He says, Apple is making it absolutely horrible for people wearing glasses. They're making people think we are nerds, and it's absolutely horrible. It's making me feel sad and upset. I find it offensive. There'll be thousands of people around the world that find it offensive, too. He wants the glasses emoji with the buck teeth. He wants it redesigned. He wants the buck teeth taken away.
He just wants a smile.
He just wants it to have a smile.
He wants a regular smirk. He doesn't want the buck teeth emoji.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are, I don't know if we need to change the emoji. I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah.
I also don't know, like in my mind, is this the nerd emoji?
I was going to say the same thing, so I typed it in. You know, you can bring up the list of emojis and search. And if you type in nerd,
it pops up.
It comes up.
Oh.
Yeah. Tough one. But to be fair, if you type in nerd, there's actually 2 emojis that come up, at least on my computer here. And the other one is the one with the monocle that's like investigating. That's also supposedly a nerd emoji.
I'm seeing that.
Which I find that's also questionable. When I think nerd, I think glasses. I don't think monocle. But maybe that's just me. Would it change your thoughts if I told you that the person who started this petition is 10 years old?
I am not that, yet again, I don't think it's that deep with the whole we need to change it.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't think it's like promoting bullying or anything, the nerd emoji.
No.
And it's not like a big issue. So there's nothing wrong with being a nerd either.
I feel that he's saying that this is offensive to people wearing glasses, but what he's actually saying is this is offensive to people with buck teeth.
Yeah, he has no issue.
A problem. He just wants it to not have the buck teeth anymore.
He's fine with the glasses.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. He looks like this emoji.
Which is why I guess he finds it offensive. Although you would think maybe having an offensive that looks an emoji that looks exactly like you
would be cool.
That's representation, right? That's what everybody fight. It's like, why isn't there an emoji that looks like me that has 5 teeth missing and 1 eye patch? Everybody wants their own emoji except this kid that actually has one that is a spitting image of him.
But he thinks it's offensive to nerds.
Yeah.
I could see if this was a deeper issue.
Mhm.
And usually I'm for, like, I don't want anybody getting picked on type things. This, that's like people are spamming the nerd emoji at him.
Maybe
via
they
text.
are. Maybe that's why.
Well,
Although
then maybe he's not old enough to have a phone yet then. Maybe it's best if we just don't do the whole phone thing. That's what I would say.
I don't know. I don't think it needs to be changed.
I don't think so either.
And this does feel like one of those things that if you change one thing, other people will find it offensive. Yet again, the buck teeth community will be like, "Why did you take it away?
What's wrong with buck
You saying
teeth?
there's something wrong with buck teeth?"
That's supposed to be offensive?
The buck teeth people should be like, "Excuse me, we don't all wear glasses."
And when did buck teeth go hand in hand with glasses and being a nerd? Like, when did they decide?
Yeah, I don't know a lot of nerds that have the buck teeth actually.
Usually
But
nerds
I mean,
make
I can't picture a guy. He's wearing glasses. He's got like bigger teeth, and he's like, actually.
True.
But I don't. That's a cartoon. That's not a
That
real
is a
person.
cartoon.
I've never met a person like that.
In real life, nerds usually have like perfect teeth because they could pay for braces because they make so much money.
That's right. Yeah.
But when they were growing up, they might have had buck teeth.
Well, where do you stand on the nerd emoji? Does it need to be redesigned? Is it offensive to anybody besides this 10-year-old? 8772 Radio U.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
So everybody in the last couple of days has been posting out their Spotify Wrapped. It's a very exciting time of year to get to see all the music, and for some podcasts as well they've been listening to over the past year. One of the highlights is also seeing artists post out, because usually they're very grateful, a lot of gratitude about all the how many people listen to their songs over and over again. But I don't know if you saw Weird Al's post about Spotify Wrapped. Weird Al Yankovic. He says, this is his quote, "It's my understanding that I had over 80 million streams on Spotify this year." That's pretty good. He says, so I'm doing the math right. That means I earned $12. Taking a dig at how much Spotify pays their artists.
$12?
Yeah. For 80 million streams. Don't worry, Isaiah. It's a joke.
I was about to say.
Yeah. He's grossly exaggerating, or what's the opposite of exaggerating? Minimizing? I don't know. Spotify doesn't pay artists that low, but I can tell you how much. And so, like, here's what I actually want to ask. If you think this actually sounds low when you really map it out. The truth is that Spotify pays a 0.003 cents per stream of a song to an artist. So that means what? 0.003. If it was 0.3, then you need 3 streams to make a penny. If it was 0.03, you'd need 33. So you need 333 streams to make a penny on Spotify. Does that seem low to you?
No. It's tough to say. I know it's hard to say.
Yeah. Weird Al would disagree.
He would disagree.
Weird Al would disagree.
But
And by
think
the
about
way,
how many times, like, I could myself
yeah,
make you an unreal amount of money if it was more than that, though.
if you just streamed one of my songs constantly.
Over and over again.
Now, there may be different pay levels for different artists. So that's weird. That's probably what Weird Al would make one of the more, and this is crazy to say, but more popular artists on Spotify. So you add up his 80 million streams and him making 0.003 cents per stream, he would have made, just on Spotify alone, mind you, about $350,000.
That's pretty good.
That actually is pretty good.
That's pretty grand.
Yeah. So you think about it, I don't know. Like, I wonder what our Radio U artists would say if
That's
they
a
were
good
here
question.
debating us. Because to me, I understand, it's a two-sided coin, a double-edged sword, because I want our artists to be making money. I want them to make as much money as they possibly can. At the same time, if you can make $350,000 as Weird Al with 80 million streams, that feels and that's obviously, as an artist, you have other ways of making money as well. That Spotify is not the only streaming service. Your concerts, whatever, merch. I don't know. And if you're like if you're not a Weird Al level artist, are you expecting to make a living off of Spotify alone?
It says that 16,000 artists make more than $50,000 from Spotify.
Now that sounds low. But then again,
Does it
that's
though?
Spotify alone,
Yeah.
not all the other things. And
that's $50,000 a year, whether you like it or not.
yeah.
That's your job then. Spotify alone
But
can be your job.
think about this though. How many ways do you have to split that? The
You're
50,000.
saying between
Like most of the bands we play are at least 3,
Yep.
4 people. So are you splitting that 50,000? And then if you're making 12,000 a year, if you're splitting it 4 ways, that's not a living. No, it's nowhere near a living.
it's not, no.
Not on its own.
But also how many artists, like a 16,000 artists is a lot of artists. That's a lot of artists. That
Yeah.
make 50,000 from just Spotify. There's Apple Music too. There's other ones.
Uh-huh.
There's more than that.
Concerts.
You'd like to know what our artists make.
We'll have to start doing the math.
We'll start asking them.
Yeah,
What do
that's
you make
right.
a year from Spotify before tax?
I think
That'll be our new lead question.
what the artists
Give
would
the people what
say-
they want.
The top thing they would say is not to stop streaming their music on Spotify, but I don't think they expect that to be where they earn their living. But I think they would say, because I think I've heard some of them say this, that if you want to support them, that's not the best way to do it. Isn't just constantly streaming their song. It's actually buying the CD
Yep.
or buying it on iTunes or whatever. That's how you support them.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a mixed bag question. I mean, if you ask someone, do you think you should make more money?
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to say yes.
Yeah.
Except for us.
No, we make
We
the
deserve
appropriate
less.
amount. We're overpaid.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
When you're doing your gift buying, Isaiah, do you actually set a budget for how much all told you expect to spend on all of your gifts?
I usually do even amounts.
Okay.
Like, especially for I have 2 brothers.
yeah.
And I usually try to get them the same amount
Mm-hmm.
together. But I don't do like a total overarching.
Yeah.
I just kind of split it up person by person.
I do something similar where it is more person by person. I try to keep it fair or like mostly even so that nobody is like, what? They got a present that's twice as expensive as you got that other person. I try to keep it mostly even, but I don't agonize over it. And then you kind of add it all up in the end, but I don't budget. I don't set, here's what my overall budget is, and then divide it up by the people I'm buying for. But according to this survey, some people do. In fact, and this is interesting, what generation would you expect to be spending the most per, like on a average person basis?
Probably, Gen Xers? That would be like 45 to 54.
Yeah, I would think that too. I would
That's like
think,
mom and dad, you know?
yeah, Gen X or maybe, I thought maybe even older.
Maybe grandma and grandpa.
But it says here that for Gen Z and millennials, they are twice as likely to have their holiday budget for gifts be over $2,000 than the 45 and up. So Gen Z and millennial, that's under 45. Then the other age group, 45 and up, they are half as likely, if you're over 45, to spend $2,000 total on Christmas gifts.
So you're thinking so what age, that's millennials down to Gen Z,
Yeah.
they're the big spenders.
They're more likely to be big spenders, yes.
What's the
Twice
top-
as likely.
What's the top end of millennials? That's like what?
45.
45?
Yeah.
And then you take that down to what, 27?
Yes.
That kind of makes sense.
I don't get it. Because I'm thinking here, once you're older, right? Of 45 and over, you have actually, when you think about it, more people to buy for. Right? Because you're buying for your kids, all of their, but then if you're even older, grandkids that you've got to buy for.
I don't know if grandkid, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe.
And
54 isn't
and possibly
usually grandma, grandpa age, but
significant others as well of the children that you have. So, and then all of your friends that you might buy for. Whereas, like for me, I have my siblings and my parents, and that's about it.
But I would say that when you're in the age group of like when you're in your 30s,
Mhm.
like a lot of 30-years, usually you have kids then. And your kids are young.
Mhm.
And I feel like when your kids are that age, it's a lot more like toys and stuff like that, trying to spoil them.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's so much for the children because I think 45 to 54, most of them aren't going to be grandparents. So we'll knock out grandkids.
Okay.
I think if you're 45 to 54, your kids are probably like teenage to high school years.
Yeah.
So maybe not even they aren't married or anything yet. So maybe not so much getting it for their significant other. But I think where the big kicker is I'm thinking the people between 45 and 30 are more likely to spend more money on their significant other. I think once you reach the age of 45 to 54, you'll still get your significant other something, but you're pretty content with life at that point maybe, to where you're not getting the big diamond necklace or you're not getting the super expensive jewelry that maybe a 33-year-old newly married would do.
And budgeting in that in.
So that's what my guess is. I don't know. That's what I think maybe it could be.
Interesting hypothesis.
Maybe they're not spending the big bucks on their. Maybe it's like one big gift, whereas like the 35-year-old's really still trying to impress his sweetheart. You know.
You think about the people that are buying the cars with the bows on them in car commercials. They're probably
young couples.
They're under 45. I'll tell you that. Interesting. What's your holiday budget? Text in 8772.
How much money you throwing around?
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
The most hateable TV character you can think of. Who is a TV character when they came on the screen? It grinds your gears. You just hate them. You just want them to get their comeuppance. Because I have a list here of the most hated TV characters, but I'm interested to see what everyone says. I'm actually looking through this list. A lot of them are from shows, I guess unsurprisingly, because there's just so many TV shows that I have not watched. But the ones that I am familiar with deserve to be on this list. 8772 Radio U. Who's the most hateable TV character you can think of? I guess it could be a villain or it could just be somebody that just is annoying. Because that's the first few people that come to mind for me. The very first one, Isaiah, Peggy Hill.
Peggy Hill.
Yeah, from King of the Hill. I can't stand
You love that
Peggy.
show.
I do love King of the Hill, despite Peggy. But I think what frustrates me, what frustrates me about Peggy Hill is that she is so oblivious to how stupid she is. She's really the portrait of Dunning-Kruger syndrome. And yet Hank continues to love her. That's what's crazy. It's not that she exists. It's that Hank puts up with her day in and day out, cleans up her messes. It's difficult for me to watch. 8772 Radio U. Start thinking of your most hated TV characters. We'll see if any of yours pop up on the list. By the way, Peggy Hill did not make the top 15. So I guess I'm alone in that. We'll see what people are saying next. Isaiah, I'll give you some time to think.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Talking the most hated TV characters of all time. I have a list here, a definitive list voted on by the folks at Ranker, but I wanted to see what people were texting in as far as their choices for the most hated TV character. I knew they would be wide-ranging because we have Regina, who texted in Georgina from Gossip Girl. You ever seen Gossip Girl?
I've never seen Gossip Girl.
Me neither. But Regina
All right.
says Georgina is straight up evil, played by Michelle Trachtenberg, who did a good job, according to Regina. I looked her up a little bit. Apparently, I guess this is a spoiler alert, despite being cruel and manipulative in the show, she came into the good graces of the Upper East Side by the final season, whatever all that means. We also got a text in from Alex, who says if non-animated counts, it does. Negan from The Walking Dead. Oh, by the way, Georgina did not make the list of the top 15. Neither did Negan, shockingly, but I will tell you that the governor from The Walking Dead was number 4. And I was trying to think. I watched The Walking Dead through where Negan is in the show. I think the governor is more hateable to me personally. So I agree with this list that the governor's a little more a little less sympathetic. I don't know. Or maybe, you just took him a little more seriously at that point in the show. Jacob, though, see, this is the wide range we're getting. Jacob texted in, anyone played by Melissa McCarthy? Oh, that's tough. You know what? I think I used to feel the same way. But I also never really watched shows that had her in it. But I didn't like her as an actress until more recently. Isaiah, did you come up with any?
The main one that I think of is probably, I have a lot of movie ones that I hate.
Yeah.
If I'm doing TV shows strictly, it's probably Swiper the Fox. He just doesn't have a life.
Yeah.
He's just always taking things.
He's,
Gotta be one of the most annoying characters in a TV show of all time.
Yeah. They didn't really flesh him out much.
No.
He has one character trait, and it's he likes swiping.
He likes to steal.
Yeah.
So that's probably the top one for me.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Susanna says every character on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but especially her sister. And Philip says Robotnik. Is that from Sonic? He is doesn't have a lot of positive traits. I'm surprised nobody has texted these in as of yet, but the top choices are all the top on the list are all from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Joffrey Baratheon was the most hated character of all time, according to this list from Ranker. Ramsay Bolton, number 2, and Cersei Lannister came in at number 3. Some of the other ones, though, that were on the list that stuck out to me as good choices, you again see the wide range. Caillou was near the top of the list. You know Caillou from the kids' cartoon?
I know who Caillou is, yeah.
I'm surprised he's not higher.
He's not a villain.
Yeah, but he sucks.
Oh, so he's just a bad character.
He's just a bad yeah, so he's hateable. It doesn't matter why they're hateable as long as they're hateable. Peggy Hill's not a villain either. She's no good. Caillou is number 9. A few characters from Glee showed up on there. Todd from Breaking Bad, which played by Jesse Plemons. I forgot about Todd, but he's no good. And that rounds out. To round out the top 5, by the way. So it was the 3 from The Walking Dead, or the 3 from Game of Thrones. The Governor from The Walking Dead was number 4, and then surely you're familiar with this, Isaiah. Shao Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist.
Shao Tucker.
Yeah, everybody remembers him from that anime show.
I would say another one for me, probably Robert California from The Office. I could not handle Robert California.
No good.
No good.
You're right. I think I hate characters more that just don't belong in shows,
Yeah.
They bring him in and you're like, get out of here.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, he was one of them. And he stood around for way too long, too.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
What do you think of this new study, Isaiah, that was done by researchers at Carnegie Mellon University? That's pretty prestigious, pretty scientific. Like, they know their stuff there, do a lot of good research, apparently. And also the University of Washington. They worked together to analyze dating app algorithms. And what they found was dating apps like that, just present people for you to swipe through, prioritize the people they put forth for you. They're going to put forth more popular and attractive people as opposed to people that might actually be the best match for you. Do you think that's, one, right, as in correct? Like, do you buy the findings of the study? And 2, do you think that's okay, not okay? Where do you fall?
I would say it doesn't seem as if, at least with my time on dating apps, it seems as if it tries to not always put forth the most popular matches, but just like categorizes you, it seems like. To where, like, if you get a lot of matches, then you will get people with who get a lot of matches. If you don't get a lot of matches, then you get people who don't get a lot of matches. It kind of seems like how it goes.
In other words, it all depends on your popularity.
Yeah.
And less about your compatibility.
Yes.
I think I totally buy the results of this study, even though I haven't been on dating apps in quite some time. But it makes sense. Because most of these dating apps are not coming at you saying, we are going to use our, proprietary criteria and how you fill out your profile to match you with the perfect person for you. They don't really say that. They're just like, come on here and, you'll find somebody. And what do the dating apps want by and large? Even though they may say, we want you to be happy, we want to hook you up with somebody that you'll, have a real nice relationship with. The truth is they want you to keep on being on there, right? To keep on swiping, spend more time on there, spend more money on there, see more ads or whatever. And how do you do that? By keeping on seeing people that are real attractive that you're like, oh, I could have a chance.
Yes. That's what I was going to say. It said it led to the determination that a user's chance of being recommended by the platform's algorithm increased by a notable margin as their average attractiveness score went up, which makes sense because if you're on a dating app and no matter what you're into, if you don't see people that you're attracted to on there, you're going to be like, this app stinks.
Right.
I don't want to be on here because there's no cute people on here. But if you're constantly seeing these really cute people that you think that, yet again, you might have a chance to match with, then you're going to want to get on it every single day.
Yeah. Even though, this is kind of the poison of it, that, for some people, studies have also found that, it's very detrimental to be on a dating app of that fashion because even after you get into a relationship, you've been trained to be like, well, there could be somebody else out there.
If I just swipe one more time.
Yeah, a few more swipes, we'll see what else is out there. And so
they're smart. The dating apps are smart.
They are. And it'd be, honestly, bad business
if they,
for them to, you're on there for a day and you found your match already because they had the perfect criteria, the perfect algorithm to match you with somebody that would actually work for you. But I mean, that'd be creepy if they were able to accomplish that, but also that would be bad for them because then you'd be off the dating app way quicker.
And as well that the dating app is trying to get your money and they're trying to keep you on there. When every time that you run out of swipes, I'm telling you, every single time that you run out of swipes and you're not able to swipe that one more, it still shows you a profile that you can't swipe on.
Yeah.
And it's always the most beautiful girl you've seen all day. Because man, if I had one more swipe, maybe I could match with her right now. And then you end up buying the Tinder Premium or whatever it is, and then you swipe and it's not a match.
Cockroaches, man.
They're good. They are good. They know what they're doing. They're good. I'll give it to them.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Do you know this is actually possible that you could get a ticket for honking your car horn?
I'd be upset if I did.
This is it's such a contentious issue that it looks like it's now making its way all the way up to the Supreme Court. Now, the reason this woman was ticketed for honking her horn, apparently she did it. She was driving by a rally at her congressman's office in 2017, and she was honking in support of the rally, the protesters. So she was trying to be, supportive. But according to a California traffic law, horn and honking is banned other than to warn another driver, which she was not doing. She was doing it as a friendly honk. Go get him honk. It wasn't a watch out honk. And so she was ticketed, and now she has taken this fight all the way to the Supreme Court. Where do you stand on honking?
I'm a honker. I think there's
Are you a friendly honker or a watch out honker?
I'll honk for almost any reason. I'll honk if I'm angry. I'll honk if I'm happy. You'll catch me honking in many a different ways.
So you're a big honker.
I will honk. I've honked many a time.
I don't think I've ever heard you honk.
Oh, well, you've never been driving around me. You've only ridden with me once. I didn't have to honk.
I've ridden with you once. I'm also a honker, but I'm not really a happy honker. I save up my honked. I'm one of those people, if they ever instituted a rule where it was like you get 3 honks per year, so use them wisely, I would be very good at that because I probably use 3 honks per year when somebody really does something that either is just, an egregious, dangerous act or, makes me angry or it is a watch out situation. I use my honks for that and that's it.
I honked this past Saturday. And a friendly honk.
A friendly honk?
I passed somebody I knew.
Oh, yeah?
I tossed him a honk. I think this month I probably honked at least 3 times. This past month, I guess it's December 1st now. I bet I honked 3 times in November.
Dang.
And 2 of the 3 were probably happy honks. One of them may not have been as happy. More aggressive.
I see when it's a happy honk, I just wave. I don't need the happy honk.
But they might not catch you. That's why I did it. It's because I was passing by them. I didn't think that they would see me. So I had to toss the honk, and then I texted them and said, that was me who gave you the honk.
I gave you a happy honk.
You heard me go by. It's like they wouldn't believe me if I texted and said, hey, I just passed you.
Yeah.
I had to honk. That way they could know that it was for sure me.
Yeah. But see, the reason I save my honk so much, why I never do happy honks, and then I only rarely pull out an angry honk, is because honking can really, especially if it's the angry honk that's like, oh, you cut me off or whatever, it just really throws people. Because first of all, they're probably like, if you're honking at somebody else that did something that upset you, they're going to defend themselves. How often do you see people, one person honks and the other, because they're angry, and the other person honks back? Almost always. They're never like, sorry, I was wrong.
I honked yesterday.
That never happens.
Darn it, I honked too much. I honked yesterday, but they would not argue. I'll tell you the one time that you can honk, and the person will never act as if they're in the right. That's if you're at a stoplight.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns green, which I did just yesterday.
Yeah, feel free
I honked at the person in front of me because it was green. And that's not me doing it angrily. It's me letting them know that it's green.
Get your face out of your phone. Pay attention to the road, to the lights.
I get upset if I'm sitting at a light not paying attention and it turns green and nobody behind me honks. Because if I'm sitting there looking at my phone and I look up and it's green, I'm like, seriously? Nobody wanted to let me know that I could go? And obviously it's my fault because I'm not paying attention. But if they don't honk at me, then I don't know that I'm being rude.
Some people are not going to like your casual admission that you look at your phone at stoplights.
What's that, against the law? To pull out my phone at a stoplight?
I think it might be, yeah.
So I can't look at my phone at all in the vehicle if I'm at a stoplight?
Just watch out. That's one of the most... There's going to be an angry mob coming for you. I'm telling you right now.
Text in, please, 8772 RadioU. If you don't think I can look at my phone at a stoplight, I don't know what to tell you.
I think Chris, our engineer, Moneybags, he'd arrest you for that behavior.
For looking at my phone at a stoplight? When else do you want me to do it?
He said as much to me recently. When you're not driving.
Better than looking at it when I'm driving.
I'm not saying I would do this, but people are going to be upset.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
We talked about when it's okay to take sick time at work and when you might feel a little bad about it.
You feel bad yesterday?
Yes, I did feel bad.
Good. You should.
Yeah.
Left me hanging.
I was upset that I couldn't be here. Okay. Everybody has seen their Spotify Wrapped come out the last day or two. I got my Spotify Wrapped. I listened to, check this out, 51 days worth of music. Is that a lot?
It's a lot of music.
That's like one day a week if I just spent the entire day listening to music, right?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. My top artist, I will confess, not a Radio U artist. It was Elvis Presley.
That's impressive. Being up there for Elvis. Big Elvis guy. I didn't know you liked Elvis so much.
I like Elvis, but here's what I do, and this is why a bunch of non-Radio U artists are ahead as far as like my top listen to, is because I will listen to like a classic artist and I'll listen to every single album to like see what was all the fuss about. And so I did that with Elvis. I mean, some pretty good songs in there.
And they can't track your listens at work all day.
Yeah.
We listen to Radio U all day long.
Yeah, that's actually, I forgot about that. But yes, that's another, like.
You want to talk about minutes listening to artists?
Seriously.
I wonder what my minutes would be.
Well, I guess it'd be about circa 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, the entire year. So
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, that factors in too. But, you know, what's interesting, what a lot of people see in their Spotify Wrapped is, your top artist for me, Elvis. I was in the top 0.5 of all Elvis listeners.
Wow.
That's pretty, and for an artist like that, pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. But I was wondering, I like seeing that stat come out, but I want to know, what is something else that you're in the top, let's just say percent. What's something you're in the top 1% of that's not like artists you listen to? Something about you where you're the top 1% of what?
That's a good question.
Yeah. So you can text into the Riot hotline. and let us know. I think it's similar to the question, if you had to give a speech on a topic unprepared for 30 minutes, what would you talk about? It's similar to that, right?
Yeah, but it's so much wider.
Yeah. Yeah, because you might not give a speech on, I don't know.
Be outside the box. You can think anything. You're
Yeah,
in the
it could
top
be
1%
anything.
of compliments received, compliments given,
One of
hats worn.
the top, I guess that would be me. You just took mine right there.
Sorry about that.
You could be in the top 1% of people who eat at Panda Express. I don't know. It could be just anything. So 8772 Radio U. What are you in the top 1% of besides your number one artist on Spotify? We'll see what people are saying. We'll try to come up with a few others other than the hat thing for me.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Pretty good answer here from Chad, who says he's not quite in the top 1%, but he's close in a bunch of lifetime Fortnite stats.
Impressive.
And to give you let's give Chad some props here. He's got an 11.9 win percentage. So he wins just about 1 out of every 10 times he plays. That has him ranked 1,335,687th of all Fortnite players. That's in the top 2%. But then you think, when you put it that way, you think it's actually kind of easy to be in the top 1% of a lot of things. Because you just have to be in the top million if there's 100 million people that have done it.
Yeah, but that's still, I'm probably ranked like
Fortnite,
900 million.
on Fortnite, that's impressive. I think, but for a lot of other things, it actually isn't that hard to be ahead of 99% of other people, because 99% of other people just probably don't do it at all.
Yeah.
I like Susanna, who said she's in the top 1% of having old pairs of Brooks running shoes that I don't wear anymore because I already worked out in them a lot, but I want to keep around because you never know when you'll need a pair of old shoes. You do never know. How often do you get rid of shoes?
Throw them away?
Yeah.
It takes a while.
I do this, but I keep my old shoes too long, but I only get a new pair of shoes probably like once a year, a new pair of like running shoes. So I'm like but I have like 4 pairs. So I do keep them around for mowing the lawn, usually is what they wind up getting to. Mark says this has got to put him in the top 1%. He can stop hiccups on command. Do you think 1%?
What does that even mean?
1% of the population can do that.
Stop hiccups on command.
I feel actually, you know what, Mark? Thinking about that math, could 1 out of 100 people stop hiccups on command? I feel like yes.
No,
I feel like yes.
I've never met someone.
I'm gonna have to call this into question.
But listen, wouldn't that be everyone's fun fact? I've been in a lot of those fun fact sharing moments.
Yeah.
No one's ever shared that. I've heard a lot of weird ones.
Okay.
No one's ever said hiccups on command, stopping them. I'm not even sure I believe that's real.
It's impressive, nevertheless, but I don't know. I feel like more than 1 out of 100 people could do it. What about you? What's your top 1%?
I've got 2.
moment? Okay.
One of them, haircuts received. I guarantee it.
You think so?
Yes.
I think there's more like celebrities that probably get it cut like
But you got to think
multiple times a week.
Think of all the people that get haircuts.
Yeah.
Which is everyone in the world.
Pretty much.
For me to be in the top 1%, me getting my haircut once a week, that's for sure top 1%er.
I guess yet again, you're talking, do you get haircuts more than if you had a group of 100 people, do you have the haircuts the most out of that 100? And I guess that's pretty popular, just a random sampling.
I would say it's pretty likely. The other one I have, I don't know exactly how to equate this, but there has to be some way, and that would be some sort of having to deal with the worst behaved dog.
I don't know. There's dogs out there that are like biting people and stuff.
There's more
Jim the
good
dog
dogs.
doesn't do that.
My dog, listen to this. Jim peed inside yesterday in his crate.
Yeah.
Twice. He received 2 baths. 2 baths. Imagine coming home from work, giving your dog a bath, leaving the house, coming back home, and cleaning up pee again and giving him another bath.
But
unreal.
Think about when you're out walking around and like you walk past a yard with a dog and the dog's just going wild. So you give me a sampling of 100 dogs randomly. I don't think Jim is the worst out of those 100.
I mean, it depends on what your category of worst is. Would I rather have a dog that bites me or pees in my house every day? It's tough to say.
Max says he can also stop his hiccups on command. So that's 2 people already. But we probably have more than 100 people listening, I would hope. So
Fingers crossed.
more than 200 people. What was mine? I mean, mine is the hat thing for sure, because I literally, anytime you see me, I'm always wearing a hat.
But there's so many people like that, though.
I mean, some people have to do it for like religious reasons, if you count that. But
Yeah.
I still think so that, that does make it tougher if you count that.
And
But if you count
think
people to do it voluntarily,
it's just so popular, the hat thing. There's people that are bald, Hudson. You think they're not wearing a hat all the time?
how many times do you see me without a hat, though?
I'm just saying it's a really common thing. So it's harder to be in the top 1% of that.
What would your answer for me be then?
Probably most compliments giving to myself on the radio.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
It's the Riot Podcast, the Friday, December 1st edition. Today in the show, we talk about Spotify Wrapped and ask what else besides your favorite artist are you in the top 1% of? We find out that there's actually a lot of people that can do one certain bodily function, and it surprises Isaiah.
We also talk about a woman who got a ticket for honking her horn and had a deep discussion on the morality of horn honking and where we stand.
One of us is a major honker, and the other, not much of a honker at all. Who's who? Take your guesses now.
We also talk about a child who wants to get rid of a certain emoji because he feels attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us really go for that.
Take your guesses on which emoji that is. There's many to choose from, but only one needs to be redone according to this guy.
And then people who aren't being prioritized on dating apps complaining once again.
Of course. Just like you are one of them, aren't you?
Yeah, one of them.
Also, you should check out our food fight from today, the Elf Krispy Kreme donuts. You can watch that on the Radio U Riot Facebook page and YouTube channel. And have a good weekend.
We'll catch you guys soon.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.